Welcome to Geek on Film with your host, Robbie Holmes. Hey there, folks. Welcome to episode 14 of season 3 of Geek on Film. This week, we'll be discussing Thunderbolts as the main review. We'll do a couple of rewatches and then discuss one independent film that I was lucky enough to go to a screening here in the Northern Virginia area that was hosted by the producer, actor, director. There's a whole bunch of other people there supporting this film. So let's jump right into rewatches. I received my Criterion Collection 4K of Anora, like a lot of other nerds out there who collect physical media. I was really excited to rewatch it. If you haven't heard me gush about it, this was my film of the year last year. I'm so excited to finally own it and to have it in such a great format. I think the 5.1 surround sound is really impressive. I think the actual transfer looks unbelievable. I was so happy to rewatch this movie. I watched a couple of times the first 30 minutes of the movie since it's been available on streaming. And this is better. You should watch things on physical media if you can. I'm lucky enough to have a pretty good setup at home. And I was really impressed with the Criterion Collection 4K. It is 100% worth the $30-ish you're going to spend on it. Still a 4.5 star film. I loved it. You should watch it. Thanks again, Sean, for such a great movie. Rewatch of Sinners was the next thing up. I had talked about it a lot with my wife and convinced her that we should go see it. I talked about the fact that it was Ryan Coogler's masterpiece. It has been doing gangbusters on the revenue side. I think it's up over $230 million at this point. It's really doing fantastic business. It left me feeling better than I did when I saw it the first time. I think this is a movie that really does pay off on rewatches. You should see it again in the theater if you can. I will say I went from a 4-star movie to a 4.5 star movie. I was super impressed with what was pulled off here. Seeing it again, seeing the dots get connected, understanding where this movie is going really made me appreciate it even more. It was really fantastic. I saw this at Cinemark. It was a really good experience. You should check it out. If you haven't, don't wait for it to come home. Please see it in the biggest theater with the best sound you can get your hands on. It is fantastic. Okay, we're going to jump over to a first-time watch of a new independent film. And that film is called Granite Rapids Moon. This movie, according to our friends at Rotten Tomatoes, because they have not yet updated the synopsis over on IMDb, a happily married father of 2, shaken by a message written on a birthday card for his daughter, abruptly leaves his family for a week-long trek through the Grand Canyon. Following his solo trek, we see his memories of an earlier trip through the Grand Canyon with a different woman. This movie was written and directed by Kenneth Cran, and it stars Britt Morgan as Cammy, John Charles Mayer as John, Susan Papa as Elizabeth, Atine Eckhart as Ellie, Micah Cohen as Benjamin, Kylie Ray Condon as Thea, and Missy Pyle as Vivi, Kevin Thomas as Chris, Israel Wright as Alan, Katie Rose Welp as Kate, W.C. Mayer as Sam, Colin Katzenberg as Charlie, Kenneth Cran as Stan, Dustin Yoder as Sad Tourist, and Jeffrey Pruitt as Diner Waiter. This movie was super fun. My review of it over on Letterboxd is 3 stars and a heart. I said I was able to catch this film tonight at the Cinema Arts Theater in Fairfax, and there was a Q&A with the writer, director, and folks who made the score and the producer and the lead actor. A charming film that was shot mostly in the Grand Canyon with 2 separate timelines that were in 2 different seasons, one in winter and one in summer. The conversation about the shooting process was fascinating, and there is some real pathos and caring on the screen. The cinematography is also pretty great. The environment and views are fantastic. You should check it out. You should check out a showing if there is one near you, because the folks who made this film are on a roadshow throughout 2025. You can check things out on their website, graniterapidsmoon.com. I like this movie. I had a really good time. I will say the Q&A was fantastic. The lead actor and producer, John Charles Mayer, is really charming. It's obvious why he is leading this film, but also just talked to him afterwards, got a chance to catch up a little bit. We've now emailed back and forth trying to make sure that their film is listed on Letterboxd. It was really a good experience to see this film, and this is why we should support independent cinema. You should go see things when they're around in town. If you get a chance, this movie is currently still on tour and will be all throughout the rest of this year. If you have any questions, go check out their website. I think Britt Morgan as Cammy is really great. I think Susan Papa as Elizabeth is really fantastic. There's some fun little Easter eggs in here. The whole story was based on Kenneth Cran, who has been to the Grand Canyon multiple times. They took in a cast, I think, of 10 people, including crew, to shoot inside the Grand Canyon. I think they did a 42-mile hike. They had to have a park ranger assigned to them that was with them for every one of those miles. They did it twice. They did it once in the summer, once in the winter, as I mentioned in the storylines. But they did those two separate hikes. It was really impressive. It's super cool that a movie like this was shot in a place like the Grand Canyon, and how ambitious it was, and how little the rest of the cast actually had ever gone hiking. Poor Kenneth Cran, I think, was out there with a whole bunch of people who had never done this before. But they survived. It seems like they had a good experience. At least they seemed to like one another when it was all said and done. They're out here promoting this film right now, and you can see how much care went into this movie. Especially because John, who is the lead actor and one of the producers, is really invested in this movie succeeding. And you can tell that when you talk to him. I would say go check it out. There are a bunch of screenings that are already scheduled. If you have the possibility of bringing it to your town, there's a way to reach out to producers to try to schedule a showing locally. You should think about that. You should support independent cinema. This is really fun and well worth your time, especially because it's being shown in a lot of smaller repertory theaters, and you should support those theaters also. Go check out Granite Rapids Moon. All right, on to my main review. This is Thunderbolts, asterisk. I am not going to spoil what that asterisk means, probably for a little bit, but Marvel has decided they are going to spoil it everywhere. The summary from our friends over at IMDb is: after finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. I have this movie as 3.5 stars with a heart. I really like this film, and it might be the best Marvel film since Avengers Endgame. I really dug it. This movie was written by Eric Pearson, Joanna Callow, and Kurt Busiek, and it was directed by Jack Schaefer. It stars Florence Pugh as Yelena Belov, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Louis Pullman as Robert Reynolds, or Bob. You've got David Harper as Alexei Schertzkopf. You've got Wyatt Russell as John Walker, Hannah John Kamen as Ava Starr, Ghost. You've got, Wyatt Russell is U.S. Agent. David Harper is the Red Guardian. You've got Olga Kurilenko as Antonia Dreykov, which is Taskmaster. And then there's a couple of other folks that are not superhero characters, but are in this movie. Geraldine Viswanath as Mel, Wendell Pierce as Congressman Gary. You've got Chris Bauer as Holt, Violet Gray as young Yelena. You've got Alexa Swinton as Anya, Eric Ling as Houston, Chari Stella as young Valentina, Stefanov Karanatov as Valentina's father, Gianfranco Terrain as Nico, and Georgiou Kasov as Russian Man. That's the top cast. I will say this movie was good. It has a swagger that I wasn't expecting. It is super confident in what it's doing. I think they've got lightning in a bottle with our friend Florence Pugh as Yelena. I think that she can carry almost any film at this point. I think Sebastian Stan is basically turned into the James Dean of the MCU. He's just cool. He shows up and everything is better. The movie takes itself less seriously every time we add in a new character, it feels like, except for Bucky. And then everybody goes like, Yeah, man, that guy. Florence Pugh has amazing chemistry with David Harbour. Their characters seem so much to be actual family members that have so much pathos and care that is brought into their relationship. Truly, truly fun. I think that Ava Starr, Hannah John Kamen, who's playing Ghost, gets so much more to do in this movie. And I think Wyatt Russell playing John Walker, who has up to this point had one of the most punchable faces in all of the MCU, is still a guy you want to punch in the face, but he has a lot more going for him. You understand a little bit more why he is the jerk he is. But by the end, you're like, maybe I don't want to punch him just as much as I used to. Let's see. Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina is great, but feels a little bit like she's in a different movie. But I think that's also not off-putting. It is just that she doesn't really care about the world. Things just work out. She's almost like an extension of her character from Veep. Like she stumbles and fumbles very confidently through this world, and nothing's ever going to touch her. And that's weird considering everybody else is destroyed and devastated in this movie for lots of different reasons. The real villain of this movie is just depression, is the way I would put it. We haven't even mentioned Lewis Pullman up to this point. So if you haven't heard anything about this movie, this is probably a good spot for you to step out. I will say go see it if you get a chance. I think it's really good. I wish it wasn't bumping Sinners at a premium, the premium large format screens, because I would like to see Sinners make it to $500 million. But it's fun. It's worth seeing. And all right, we're gonna jump into a little bit of spoilers. Put in spoiler music. Yeah, spoilers. Okay, first, Thunderbolts asterisk is because the Thunderbolts become the new Avengers. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Secondarily, Lewis Pullman is playing Robert Reynolds, and Robert Reynolds is Bob. And if you have read anything in the Marvel Universe that has to do with a character named Sentry, you will recognize that Lewis Pullman is Sentry, and Sentry is a all-powerful guardian of who has the power of 1,000 suns. He's basically MCU's answer to Superman. The problem is he also has an alter ego called the Void. Lewis Pullman, as a character, is playing Robert Reynolds, who has been sort of abused as a child and then eventually ends up becoming a drug addict, has dealt with depression, manic depressiveness, and depression in general throughout his life. And when you inject that type of personality with super soldier serum, what happens? I think the argument somebody made was, what happens when you inject super soldier serum into Steve Rogers? You get Captain America. When you inject a more powerful serum into someone like Robert Reynolds, you get Sentry in the Void. His powerful nature is unbelievable. There's a sequence where Sentry fights the entire group of the Thunderbolts, and it is fantastic. I think the power on display, the way he moves is even a little off-putting. He moves so fast, and he is so non-human, is the way I would put it, and the way the way he fights and the way he moves. It's just really powerful. And then you realize slowly he's becoming more and more egotistical, and that line leads him to becoming the Void. They have a built-in kill switch in this character because he's so powerful, and they decide that they can't control him, so it's time to invoke that kill switch. And what happens is, as soon as that happens, we are left with Bob is gone, the Sentry is gone, the Void takes over. And the Void basically casts a black shadow over the city of New York, starting from where he is and going outwards. That Void power seems to be pulling people into the darkest recesses of their own mind and shame. It's like they're all trapped in individual micro universes of shame pockets. And it's their worst shame and horror moment of their life being repeated over and over again. And we find this out because we see Yelena's experience as a young girl having to coax her closest friend out into the woods so they can be killed. And that is one of the ways that she becomes a Black Widow. It's really powerful. I think there's some really fun moments in this sequence, especially when eventually we get all the Thunderbolts inside of Bob's mind. They all crash into his shame room where he seems to be like an overgrown child who is safest away from everything that's happening in his head. He finds a little reprieve where he can actually hear and see what's going on, but it's not him. And Bucky arrives and they're like, is everybody okay? And Bucky's like, yeah, I'm great. My background is perfect. I had nothing to worry about. There's some really fun, quippy moments throughout this movie. And I think that one really got me because Bucky's not usually super quippy. I think at this point, I'm going to let the movie finish and where we end up. But yeah, I think a pretty solid 3.5-star movie. I think all the hype about it, all the sort of A24-esque trailer and all the other things that were happening in this movie helped to bring it to a new level. I wish there were less trailers. I wish there were more reveals. I think the reveal at the end of them becoming the new Avengers was held, which surprises me given how they gave so much else away in this movie. But they've already removed that as a reveal in the first week after the movie's been out in advertising all over the place, on social media, across posters in Hollywood, at a lot of movie theaters. They've already given that away. It was good. I wish they had saved a little more of those reveals for us to find out in the moment. Okay, that's it for me this week. I look forward to hearing how you felt about this movie. Feel free to like and subscribe on all of your favorite places. Please, if you're going to rate and review this, give it 5 stars if you can. But I'd love to hear your experiences. Reach out on Instagram or Blue Sky. I'm Robbie the Geek everywhere. Geek on Film, geekonfilm.com. You can always track down over on geekonfilm.com where all the social media are for this podcast. Again, we're on YouTube, so smash that like and subscribe button. Make sure you get a notification whenever a new video comes out. I'm doing instant reactions for every new movie I see. I'm trying to capture what I was feeling within about a minute once I walk in the door at my house. You get a chance to see my awesome background. I'm hopefully going to be doing more video over time, but you get a glimpse into Robbie's Geek Cave. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a person who's a part of this community. It wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for you. Thank you so much for everything. I will talk to you soon. I think next up might be Mission Impossible, but we'll see if I can sneak something else in before then. Thanks. I will talk to you soon. Go to the movies. See ya. This has been a Geek on Film podcast. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.